One of the most transformational years I had as a founder was a year where I went from a relatively flat team to actually building out leaders and an actual executive leadership team. It was a year where I actually hired VPs to take on some of that load. So in that year where we actually brought on those VPs, we actually grew 300%. We went from $1 million to $3 million ARR. We started off the year by raising our Series A, ended the year with raising our Series B. It was an incredible year. And in that incredible year, I started building out that executive team. In this video, I'm gonna walk you through the 3 principles that I followed to actually make that happen. Intro. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Unstoppable. I'm TK. On this channel, I help SaaS founders like you navigate the path to the next stage of growth, navigate the path to product market fit, navigate the path to the next round of funding. So if you are new here, welcome. I drop an episode like this with the TK energy 3 times a week. So be sure to hit the subscribe button and that bell icon so that you get notified when I drop an episode. Also, if you're already part of our community and you're back, welcome back! It's really excited to have you here. In this episode, I'm gonna be talking about that year where I actually built out my executive leadership team. And specifically, I'm gonna walk you through the 3 principles that you gotta know if you're just at that journey. And in that year where I built out that team, we actually accelerated our growth massively. It was also that year where I felt like I didn't have to carry everything as the founder and the CEO. I happen to be a solo founder, so it was actually a huge load off my back to actually bring on some leaders that could take on the load, and I could be like, okay, you got this, right? And they're like, yeah, no, we got this. We know what we're doing. I'm like, okay, awesome, thank God. It was an incredible year. And in that year, we grew 300%. We also raised our 15 million Series B led by Andreessen Horowitz. And then we went on to expand the leadership team. It was just all awesome. And in that year, I really learned that when you're building out your executive team, you really have to follow certain principles. So these are some things that I learned as I went through that journey. So if you're excited to dig in through my 3 principles that I learned in building out your executive leadership team, hiring those first set of VPs, go ahead and smash that like button and let's get started. So the first principle is you gotta know who you need to add to the team, right? This wasn't obvious to me, and I kind of learned it, and my board members coached me through it. One of my earliest investors was Greg Gretsch from Jackson Square Ventures, incredible person. And I remember I used to call him up that first year. I was like, hey, Greg, I got a really dumb question for you. And he was extremely gracious, one of the best investors in the Valley. He was like, TK, there's no such thing as a dumb question. And I would ask him these questions, and he would send people my way to actually coach me on certain things. It was incredibly helpful. And so I essentially put together like, okay, here are the key people I need to add as leaders into my executive team. Now, there's a reason why I'm saying leaders and not VPs, because you will have to decide on what the best candidate you can find and what you need and what you can afford for your business. In some cases, it'll be VPs. In some cases, it may be directors. In some cases, it may be senior managers. You'll have to decide that. So I'm going to use the word leaders because what's more important is you get leaders for these functions based on the needs and the budget that you have within your business. So here are the key people that you would need. And this may seem obvious or may seem not obvious, but here are the key people that I would hire if I were building out my executive team again. And this is what I did the first time around. The first one is your sales leader. The second one is your marketing leader. The third one is your engineering leader or your product leader. The next one is your customer success or support leader or both. And then the last one is your biz ops / finance leader. These are essentially the most important roles that you would need to get, right? Sales, marketing, engineering and product, customer success and support. I used to call them happiness, and biz ops and finance, right? So the first principle is just mapping out, here are the key people that I need to add to the team. Here are the functions we need to start standing up. Because if you're at that million ARR, going towards 2 million real fast, and you want to get to 10 million as fast as possible, you'll need to start to think about how to scale your business in the right way so that you actually have proper functions in the company. You'll notice that there are a lot of startups that start off with like, yeah, we want flat management structures. We don't want any managers. But when they really start to scale, when they really need to figure out how to cluster human brains and make them successful and coordinated, you need leaders. That's just what you need. That's just how human brains work, and that's how clustering of human brains work. So you need to do it the right way. Okay, so principle number 1 is know the right players. The second principle is know how to prioritize the right players. Now again, this is the same list, but I'm now going to show you the principles that I followed to prioritize the right leaders. Because here's the thing. You can say I need to build out a full executive team, but at the end of the day, you are essentially the bottleneck, right? You have to recruit those people. You have to actually interview them to see if they're the right fit, and even if they're the right fit, then you have to convince them that they should join your incredibly risky startup. So you're gonna have to prioritize on what you need the most. Now, there's this weird thing where with most SaaS businesses in the early stages, the principles you need to follow on who you need to recruit are kind of the same. There's a certain pecking order. You might think that, well, you know what, we need to drive growth, I need to hire a sales leader. That's actually not true. What I learned, and I credit Jason Lemkin for this. I was talking to Jason Lemkin, this is way back in the day, and he was like, hey, how's everything going with the business? And I'm like, oh, we're doing this. We had $1 million ARR. I think we were gonna raise a Series A, we're gonna do the next round. He's like, and he looked at me, and he almost shared it with me, like almost like it was a secret. He was like, you should hire a VP of customer success. And I looked at him, I'm like, no, I don't think you heard me. Like, I need to hire a VP of sales. And if you notice, every single one of his articles are all about hiring a VP of sales. And I was obsessed about hiring a VP of sales. And I'm like, we gotta hire a VP of sales, and it's so hard. And he's like, no, you have like fast growing revenue. You need to find a VP of customer success. Like, that's what you need to do. That's what you need to do ASAP. And I was like, oh, yeah, I think you're right. And it makes sense. Like, if you're operating a SaaS business, you have a whole bunch of customers you're adding, you have revenues flowing in. Yes, you will drive the growth, but what's the most important for a SaaS business is to manage churn, is to make sure these customers stay. And so what I always say, and I agree with Jason Lemkin, and I did it, and I'm very thankful for the advice, it paid off really well for me, was the number one person you really need to fill in your executive team and your leadership team is your head of customer success and support. And again, this could be a VP, this could be a lead, or it could be like a director. You decide that, and you need to get the right person that you can afford, that you can convince to join and is the right fit. But you need to actually make sure your customers are taken care of. So customer success / support, that's the number one thing that I would hire, that you should hire. Once that was locked down, then I said, okay, we need to hire a VP of sales. And in fact, I did this simultaneously because I still wanted my VP of sales. Then you need to decide, well, which one do you need, the VP of sales or the VP of marketing? And you'll notice over here in terms of prioritization, I kind of bucketed them together and put them as the number 2 priority. How do you decide? It depends. It depends on whether you're a sales-driven SaaS business or a marketing-driven SaaS business. How do you know the difference? I did an entire video right here. There are 2 different SaaS sales models, either the talk to sales button on your homepage or the sign up for a trial button in your homepage, and totally different growth models, totally different ways to grow. And it's hard to do both. And so depending on which sales model you have, and I'll link to the video below, you don't have to go there right now. That's how you'll decide whether you need to hire the VP of sales first or the VP of marketing first. My opinion, this is just my opinion, majority of companies should hire a VP of sales. Hire a VP of sales because then you'll actually get the revenues going more. You'll force yourself to get to higher value customers. Your deal sizes will go higher. And then you can bring in marketing to drive more of that demand. So that's what I would do. But I'm open for debate. Hit me up in the comments if you think otherwise, or you'll have nuances around this. So number 1 is customer success and support. Number 2 is sales and marketing. Number 3 I would do is biz ops / finance. This is one of the things as an early stage, almost really a first time solo founder for a venture-backed company, I didn't appreciate what finance really does. I was like, okay, CFO, we'll get a part-time person. Don't do that. Get a really, really, really great part-time CFO or an in-house finance person or a biz ops person. For me, Leo Choi was my internal finance biz ops person. He was incredible. My external part-time CFO was this guy named Greg Capitolo. Greg Capitolo still operates right now. He's a part-time CFO for some of the most amazing companies. Highly recommend him. But you should get that in place. You should get that in place because it'll allow you to make decisions as a CEO a lot more effectively. And when you want to say no to something, you don't want to be the bad guy, you can just say like, finance told me I can't do it. And it's usually finance will tell you not to do it, but also you can use them as a bad cop, which works really well.
Shame. Shame.
So I would say 3rd would be biz ops and finance. And then number 4, I would circle back to engineering and product. Why do I say circle back to engineering and product? Because I have a base assumption that if you've gotten this far, you already have a pretty core engineering team that's working well. So I wouldn't prioritize that right away. I wouldn't rock the boat there right away. I would get all the other things in place that will force the business to up level. And then you'll see that, oh, we need to actually do more in engineering and product, so let's hire more people there. So that's how I would prioritize it, right? If step one is identify all the key players, step number two is prioritize it. Now, before I wrap up and go into step number three, let me just pause here for a second. The one thing I want you to realize is being a founder, you're carrying a lot. And if you're really gonna scale your business, you have to first scale yourself. Then you have to scale your team, and then you can scale the business, right? And so if you're starting to see the power in this and actually mapping out what my prioritization should be, who the key players would be, can I just get a yes in the comments below, and also smash that like button? If you're shy, just smash the like button. If you're not shy, put a yes in the comments. If you're both, is that a thing? Just do both. It would be awesome to hear from you. Also, if you're thinking about this stuff, if you're thinking about building the growth strategy for your business, be sure to check out my 5-point SaaS growth guide. It's a strategy guide that I created, has all my best ideas on how to create a one-page strategy document. I'll tell you more about it at the end of this video. The third principle, you guys ready for the third principle? Have you smashed that like button for the YouTube algorithm? Okay, third principle is once you have your prioritization, you need to actually treat recruiting as a sport. A lot of founders that I meet think of recruiting as this thing that yeah, we gotta do that. It's like, no. You gotta own it. You gotta it needs to be a big part of what you're doing. And you need to be conscious about that time investment you're gonna be making. So there are a couple of things you can do to treat it as a sport. Number one, hire executive recruiters. They essentially go for $100K per role. It varies based on recruiter to recruiter, but $100K per role. And they will force you to make this a priority and treat it like a sport and give you a framework for it. If you don't want to do that, or you can't afford that, or you're too cheap to do that, you can cold message people on LinkedIn and see if they'll meet with you and recruit them yourself. And the third thing you can do is you can ask for recommendations. You can go to your board, you can go to your investors, you can go to peers and say, hey, who do you know that would make a great VP of sales? And go to them and kind of manage it that way. For my VPs, majority of them, I hired an executive recruiter. That ended up being a really great process for me. But your mileage may vary, your budget may vary. It just depends on how you want to spend your time and your money. I wanted to work it like a job. I wanted the best executive team onboarded, so that's how I did mine. So there you have it. If you are starting to build out your executive leadership team, 3 principles to follow is know who you need to build out into your team. Number 2, prioritize the people appropriately and then knock them out. And number 3, treat recruiting as a sport. If you got value from this video, please be sure to smash that like button. In some future episodes, I'm gonna be digging a little bit deeper into hiring VPs for each of these roles, what I learned from each of them. I have some crazy stories to tell you. The time where a VP of sales got on board and quit after 3 weeks, it was insane. I'll share a lot more of that. I think I'm also gonna do an episode on how to do recruiting as a sport, like a recruiting 101 for SaaS founders. So if you're interested in that, let me know in the comments. And so in order to be notified for those episodes when they drop, be sure to hit the subscribe button and that bell icon so that you're notified. Also, if you're in this stage where you're building out your executive team, you're trying to figure out how to scale revenues, trying to figure out your growth strategy, I encourage you to download my 5-point startup strategy guide. My 5-point startup strategy guide will give you all the resources you need to actually craft this one-page strategy for your business. It's incredibly powerful. It's been downloaded thousands of times. It's one of my best pieces of work. It's completely free. Follow the link below or just go to getunstoppable.com/strategy to download it for yourself. And also, if you're part of a SaaS founder group, if you've got a bunch of SaaS founder friends, you're part of a WhatsApp group, please share this video. It would mean the world to me and my team. We put a lot of effort into these videos. We want to get them into as many hands as possible. Lastly, remember, everyone needs a strategy for their life and their business, but when you are with us, yours is going to be unstoppable. I'm TK. I'll see you in the next episode.
Shame. Shame.